Well, thanks for joining us on the Café. Mark will be showing us how to make his French cheesy potatoes shortly. They sound really romantic when you say them in English, don't they? First though, do you know exactly what you're signing up for when it comes to insurance? Joining us today in Perpetual Guardian Money Matters is Charlotte Lockhart. Welcome, Charlotte.
Welcome.
So what are the common pitfalls in insurance then?
Oh, there's all sorts of things that people don't quite get right with insurance, and we're on the phone to the insurance company and they're telling us all these exciting things that we're going to be covered for. But one of the good questions to ask is, what am I not covered for? Because you're sitting there and they're saying you're covered for this, you go tick, yeah, I can see how I'd need that, tick, yeah, I can see how but then if they go through the list of the things you're not covered for, you might think, oh, I actually might have wanted cover for that.
Well, you don't know sometimes, do you? You don't think about it.
No, exactly. And reading your policy, when you get your policy document from your insurance company, because they've got all of this risk and compliance stuff that they'll do, and they'll go, the call's being recorded and we have to read you this disclaimer and all this sorts of stuff to protect themselves. But you've got to take some responsibility for protecting yourself too. So read the policy, and if you're not sure, ask them.
Sorry, what? We have to read the fine print?
I know. God forbid that we would have to do something like that. And lots of people don't, of course. We get the paperwork, we shove it in a folder, or possibly even just biff it. And that's not generally a good idea.
Have you been to my house? I haven't biffed it. It's in that special folder though.
Yeah, exactly. That file 13.
Exactly, that special one. There's a lot that we don't ask, isn't there? There's just a lot that we don't ask.
There is, yeah. And so we've just got to make sure, like, when are my payments going to start? There's been a few things in the press recently. Is this just a quote, or am I signing up for insurance here now? Don't give your credit card details out unless you're actually taking the insurance. So if you think you're just ringing up for a price, then make sure, is it full replacement cover? After the Christchurch earthquakes, we had all this change to the way we insure our houses, and so now they're a replacement value as opposed to anything else. So you need to make sure that you're insuring your house for enough, and that might include the removal of the old property as well. So if you've got lots of retaining walls and all sorts of things like that, you have to be really careful about that.
So we're just talking about our house insurance,
well,
not
it's
other kinds of insurances?
all sorts of insurances. And telling the truth when you're taking out insurance is a really good idea. Don't just sort of think, oh, I think I can ignore that. Especially when you're taking out what we call risk insurance, which is life insurance or income protection or any other, those sort of insurances. It's really important to try and make sure that you disclose as much as possible.
Do you do any dangerous sports?
Yes, and and any other health issues that you might think that you had. If you can't remember, it's always a good idea to talk to your GP, or if you're using an insurance broker, which is often a really good idea, then that person, you can authorise that person to speak to your medical professionals for you, and make sure you've got everything in there, because otherwise, if you're paying premiums for insurances and then you need to make a claim, and they can prove that you didn't disclose everything, then you're not going to get your payout. So you'll not only have paid all those premiums, but then you also won't get your payout, and so that can cost you.
And sorry, I forgot that. Doesn't really cut it at the end of the day, does it?
You have to be very careful, and that's where using an insurance broker can be a really good idea, because then because let's face it, when you're claiming on insurance, you're generally in a vulnerable position, whether it be financially or health-wise, and so that's somebody that will go to bat for you. So if you genuinely did forget, then they'll really push for that policy to be paid out for you.
Should we shop around on a regular basis with our insurance, or does loyalty count for something with your insurance companies?
I think that it's really important to make sure that you're always reviewing your insurance. So an insurance broker will review your insurances with you every year, and so even if you're just doing it yourself, you should actually review that, a bit like when we were talking about with your electricity or your other bills that you have in your life. You should actually review these on a regular basis. Loyalty can count, but you should always make sure that it is counting.
What about your bulk buying? So you get your car, you get your boat, you get your house, you get your everything with the same company. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and look, when most of us do that, we'll go to our bank or our AA or our standard insurance company for getting those group packages, and they can sometimes be a really good idea. So I mean, like if your house burns down and it's got your car in it, well, and you've got your car insurance with your same the same place that's got your house and contents, then you'll pay one excess often, rather than if they're in different places, you'll end up paying 3 excesses, and so yeah.
So what if we think we're having a few issues with our insurance company? Is there an agency that we can go to get a bit of advice?
Yes, so most financial organisations, whether they be insurance companies or insurance brokers, they all have a complaints process, and it generally starts with them, and that should be on their websites, and then there will be whatever professional associations or regulatory bodies that they belong to are also part of that. And then there's the Insurance and Savings Ombudsman if you're really not getting anywhere.
Okay, that's great advice. As always, Charlotte, thank you so much.